Un ballo in maschera. Libretto by Antonio Somma. First performance on the 17th of February 1859 at the Teatro Apollo, Rome. On the 19th of September 1857, Verdi wrote to Vincenzo Torelli, secretary to the management of the San Carlo Theatre in Naples, "I am in despair. In these last months, I have looked through an infinite number of plays, some of them really beautiful, but no one of them will do for me. At present, I'm condensing a French drama, Gustav III of Sweden, libretto by Scribe, performed at the Opera about 20 years ago. It is grand and vast. It is beautiful." Boston, end of the 17th century. Riccardo, governor of Boston, is secretly in love with Amelia, the wife of his best friend and trusted secretary, Renato. However, Riccardo's life is in danger. Samuel and Tom, his sworn enemies, are plotting behind his back. Renato tries in vain to warn Riccardo. Riccardo is presented with a complaint against a fortune teller named Ulrica. She is accused of witchcraft, but Oscar the page defends her. In order to investigate her himself, Riccardo summons everyone to Ulrica's dwelling at 3 o'clock. He is still unaware of the conspiracy taking place behind his back, and his joyful impetus overflows in a great vocal unison backed by the full orchestra. The people gather to hear Ulrica's prophecies. Among those present are Riccardo and Emilia, who, with her face hidden by a veil, asks the fortune teller how to free herself from a forbidden passion. Riccardo realizes that his love is reciprocated. Ulrica tells Amelia to gather a herb with magical powers from the graveyard, which will bring peace to her heart. Now Riccardo questions the fortune teller about his future. There is a shocking verdict. He will be killed by the next man who shakes his hand. Renato arrives, and on greeting him, shakes Riccardo's hand. Amelia, on the advice of Ulrica, the fortune teller, is looking for the enchanted herb that will extinguish her passion. She wanders through the misty darkness alone. Riccardo follows Amelia, and he confesses his love to her. Riccardo's first line, "Non sai tu che sei l'anima mia," is a crescendo of tenderness and passion. Amelia can no longer ignore her heart, and she gives herself up to her feelings. Ben si t'amo. The two characters come together in a declaration of love, accompanied by the cello. The conspirators are on Riccardo's tracks. Renato has followed Riccardo in order to warn him. Renato and Amelia beg Riccardo to flee immediately, but Riccardo doesn't want to leave Amelia. The dark sound of the timpani and the lament of the horns and cellos express a sense of impending fatality. Finally, Riccardo flees. but not before entrusting Amelia, with her face hidden by a veil, to Renato. When Samuel and Tom arrive, in the confusion, Amelia's veil falls, and her identity is revealed. Renato is shocked to discover his wife's presumed infidelity. Renato has decided to take revenge and wants blood for his friend's betrayal. He encounters Samuel and Tom, and with them he plans to kill Riccardo during the coming masked ball. Riccardo goes to the masked ball to see Amelia for one last time and bid her farewell. As Amelia and Riccardo say goodbye, Renato stabs Riccardo to death. Riccardo is dying as his subjects despair. In his final moments, he absolves Amelia and he forgives his assassin, Renato. Verdi was by now used to dealing with uncomfortable subjects. He wrote to Antonio Somma, the librettist of Un ballo in maschera, "I'm drowning in a sea of troubles. It's almost certain that the censors will forbid our libretto." For the subject of Un ballo in maschera, Verdi once again took inspiration from a historical event and had no scruples about putting the story of Gustav III of Sweden to music, the king who was assassinated during a ball by a nobleman. The premiere of the opera was planned for the Teatro San Carlo in Naples, and from the start, the censors in Bourbon, Naples, were opposed to it. Italy was taking a great step towards modernity in order to become a united and independent state. The monarchy already felt under serious threat, and the attempted assassination of Napoleon III in Paris in January of that same year, 1859, had greatly worsened matters. Verdi was no longer willing to make radical changes to his opera, and he called everything off. The theatre took him to court, and he countersued for damages. After these legal issues had been resolved, Verdi was free to offer the libretto and musical outline of Gustav III to the Teatro Apollo in Rome. But there the censors demanded further changes. The setting was to be moved overseas, from Stockholm to Boston, and King Gustav to be replaced with Riccardo, the Count of Warwick, the English governor of an American state. At this point, the opera became Un ballo in maschera. The audience of the premiere in Rome, who already saw Verdi as the symbol of the Italian Risorgimento, confirmed the opera's success. By this time, the people were rising up, and the nobility was soon to lose much more than their much safeguarded, respectable image. In the classification of Verdi's most performed operas in the world, Un ballo in maschera comes in 7th place. In the classification of the most performed operas in the world, Un ballo in maschera comes in 26th place.